Hello everybody and welcome back to Very Biased Opinions for another round of Premier League predictions. What a week we had in the Premier League last week, and we are going to get to your predictions. Those people that gave their predictions last week, I am going to get to it, but for the first time ever, I'm going to save it to the end of the video. So if you do want to jump to the end and see how you did, you can do that right now. There is a timestamp, on the screen and in the description below. But I just want to jump straight into this round of predictions. And we start, of course, with Chelsea versus Manchester United. And bringing up that topic, you have to say, you have noticed that I am on my own. Thomas is not with me. That is because he is so disgusted with what Man United did to Solskjaer. He just feels like he couldn't bring himself to be on camera this week. It was either that or he's got a busy schedule. I don't know, it's one or the other. You make your own minds up. But the inevitable happened. Solskjaer left. It was long overdue. I can't believe Man United dragged it out for as long as they did. What a pathetic performance against Watford. Have you ever seen Man United be as bad as that? Don't remember many times supporting football I've seen Manchester United as bad as I saw on that day. And all those players that played poorly and were crap all came out and said, "Oh, thank you, Ollie, what a legend." It's like, well, you didn't want to play for the guy, but now he's gone, apparently he's back to being your best mate. But I hated the whole thing. I hated the whole interview afterwards. I thought that was pretty pathetic. You can just leave, and now they're going to put an interim manager in, and it's all a bit of a mess, but you would expect a reaction. This Manchester United side is far too talented, and I know they've got a few players out, but it's way too talented. But they've got a tough week. They're playing Villarreal in the Champions League. I'm filming this before that game's played. And then they got to play Chelsea. They got to play Chelsea, who are looking incredible. They bounced back after that Burnley draw with an annihilation of Leicester City. And they look in great form. Defensively, they look good. Like Thiago Silva looks good. The wing-backs look extraordinary in James. Or even fullback, and Chilwell. Mendy looks immense in goal. If you put that into the fact of people like Pulisic, just played really well against Leicester, he's been kind of a forgotten figure so far. It's formidable. Jorginho back, Havertz is probably back, Werner might be back, and Lukaku might be back. It is a Manchester United side that have got their work cut out. I think they will improve under Michael Carrick or whoever it is that comes in. Well, I can't see it in this game, I'm afraid. I've got to go for a win for Chelsea. They look too good. They look too strong. And I think Lukaku's going to have a field day up against Lindelof and Bailly because they haven't got Maguire. That's probably a good thing. And they haven't got Varane. And players like Pogba are out as well. So, yeah. It's going to carry on, Man United fans. I'm sorry. I'm going for a quite humbling 3-0 win for Chelsea. Over to the other side of Manchester, we have Manchester City versus West Ham United. Look, West Ham had an off day against Wolves. They were due an off day and they just didn't play very well. Is that going to be a sign of things to come? Europa League and then playing City on the Sunday. It's going to be a difficult week for them. City look excellent in their victory at the weekend as well. They just toyed with Everton like they want to do and they decided 3 was enough. Let's stick at 3. And it looks, although I'm sure West Ham will give a better performance than what they did against Wolves, I just think it's going to be a case of City just controlling the game and controlling everything about the match, and it's about how many goals they want to score. You feel West Ham need to score the first goal to change the narrative of this game, but I think Man City will win it. I think it's going to be a 2-0 Manchester City victory. Liverpool versus Southampton is the next one we're going to talk about, and this looks like an absolute home banker. There's not really too much to say about this one. Liverpool tore Arsenal to pieces, especially in the second half. Arsenal didn't help themselves, but Liverpool really ripped them apart, and Saints had, he lost to Norwich. I know it was Dean Smith's first game, but he took the lead and he lost to Norwich, so that's not a good sign on the trip up to Anfield. Look, we've seen stupid things in this Premier League season, but if you're looking for a bet, I would say put Liverpool, or you're looking for do an accumulator, definitely put Liverpool down in your ACCA this week. I can't see anything other than a very strong and handsome 4-0 win for the Reds. Arsenal versus Newcastle is the next match I'm going to talk about here. And let's just talk about Arsenal, right? So they were on a great run of form. I talked about last week how this Liverpool game was a massive test that they needed, and ultimately they hugely failed it. But they looked all right in the first half. They battled hard. They put a lot of effort into the game. And Arteta will be really angry at the manner of the goals they conceded. A set piece, and then just playing out from the back. Constantly playing out from the back. How many times do you need to lose the ball playing out from the back before you stop that tactic? It never made any sense to me. And eventually Liverpool were going to get a goal off it, and they did. Fantastic goal by Jota. But they didn't help themselves in the game, and they never really looked like they were going to lay much of a glove on this Liverpool side. And I think that does show that while Arsenal are a very good, young, talented side, they've got a ways to go before they can get anywhere up to the level of really City, Liverpool and Chelsea, as they've taken beatings off those sides really this season. And Arteta's got a way to go to be able to manage against them. Tactically, poor showing from him, and they'll be happy that they're playing a Newcastle side that, if that's what they're going to do under Howe, then it's going to be enjoyable, Geordie fans. Great, entertaining 3-3 draw, but as kamikaze as you would expect an Eddie Howe side to be. Wonderful going forward, awful at the back. And I think Arsenal will win this game. They've been good against the sides they should beat this season, barring Brentford at the start of the season. So I think Arsenal will get back to winning ways, but Newcastle have got some big games coming up and they need to start picking up wins from, but it won't be in this one. I'm going for a 2-0 Arsenal win. Final game before the little break is going to be Burnley versus Tottenham Hotspur. And look, who thought Burnley Palace would be as great a game as it was? 3-3 draw. My boy, Maxwell Cornet, with another wonderful goal. I think he scored, I don't have the numbers, but he scored quite a lot of goals so far for Burnley. And this goal against Palace was a thunderbolt. And they got a couple of goals from set pieces. That's where we're strong. That's where we know Burnley have their strengths. And I don't think this is going to be an easy game for Tottenham. I do think Burnley have looked all right in the last few weeks. They haven't picked up the points necessarily, but they're certainly playing a lot better than they were in the opening few days of the season. And it ain't going to be easy for Spurs. And it was a Jekyll and Hyde performance against Leeds. Let's say the first half was pretty woeful. They got booed off for the first home league game under Conte, but he did turn it around, and they got galvanised in that second half. But they still struggled to beat that Leeds side that didn't look like it had much life in it in that second half. But they did find a way, and they were confidence off the back of that. And because it's Conte, let's say they do get something. I'm going to go for a draw here. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. Probably end up being 4-4, but I'll go 1. Okay, folks, before I jump into the second half of these games, I just want to give a big thanks to everybody that supports us on Patreon. The details are on the screen now if you do want to back us on Patreon. It means the world to myself and Thomas if you do want to do that. We've got a number of different tiers that are very affordable, and you can pick the tier that's the most affordable for you, and there's certain different perks to every single different tier. What am I talking about? You know how Patreon works. Just go over and check it out. And if you do want to support the channel, that is the best place to do it. And thank you to those people that do support. It does mean the world to us, as I've already said. And also, go over and check out Grandstand Betters. They just passed 4,000 subs on their YouTube channel, so I'm extremely jealous of them. But they are a superb tipster website. The website is fantastic. The YouTube channel is fantastic as well. Sign up for them. Patreon, you'll get like a free daily pick. But check them out they're always giving like freebies away on Twitter and on Facebook. So check out Grandstand Betters. If you like sports and gambling on sports, that's the place you want to do for winning some money. But without further ado, let's jump into the second half of this. And let's jump in to Crystal Palace versus Stevie G's Aston Villa. And what a win it was for Stevie G's rejuvenated Villa. Great goal by Ollie Watkins. Overcome a stubborn Brighton side, and we'll get to Brighton in a little bit, but they're a hard side to beat. They don't lose many games, but Villa needed that, and you feel that Gerrard needed that. He needed that home fans galvanised and right behind him, and I think they were. You saw what a fortress kind of Villa Park can be when they're all up and they're all cheering, and the Villa players really responded, I think. It was a good, encouraging start to his reign. This should be a good game, actually. Palace put in that screamer of a performance. Didn't get the result necessarily that they wanted against Burnley, 3-3 draw, which no one saw coming. Benteke looking really good again this season. What a handful of a striker he is. You can see why, even through goal droughts, people persevere with him, because he's just got so many physical attributes that you'd enjoy, that when he is on a hot streak he looks unplayable, and at the moment he looks pretty unplayable. But Palace have been great to watch. This should be a really good game, because Gerrard's not going to go there looking for anything else other than a win, and Palace have been great under Vieira, but just not getting the wins that they maybe should. Difficult one, this one, isn't it? I think I'm going to go for a Palace win. I think I've talked myself into backing Palace. Benteke, bit of Zaha, bit of Gallagher. Like what I see. Palace 2, Villa 1. Leicester City versus Watford. Stop the presses, Watford. What a result. What a performance against Manchester United. All the focus was on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, as it always is when Man United lose. Incredible. From start to finish, you were the better side. I don't know how Sarr ballsed up that penalty twice, but you even came back from that. King looked fantastic. He should have scored about 4 goals in the game by himself, but you did get those goals. You rode Man United's comeback. Obviously, Maguire got sent off. He got those 2 goals at the end, but Ranieri's doing a pretty good job. He should have got something against Arsenal the week really got a draw there. And so far looking encouraging for this Watford side. And they can certainly play like that, although they probably won't play against a side as inept at that. But maybe Leicester are that inept. They've not been very good, and probably their only result, which was good, was that win over Man United, which doesn't seem that good now because everybody can do it. But they are missing some key players, but the energy and I don't know is not quite there from what they had last season. This is not the effort levels just don't seem to be there. There's a few more mistakes in the players that weren't there. Vardy doesn't look, although you can't really argue with Vardy, and he's scoring goals. He's right up there in the Premier League goal scoring chart, so you're always going to bank on him. But it's the rest of the team behind him that maybe just are struggling a little bit. But I hope it's not throw your toys out of the pram stuff at Rodgers, because from what he's done over previous years, he's earned himself a little bit of a bad run. And I think Watford will get something here at King Power. I don't think Leicester will enjoy this playing against this Watford side. I can see it being quite a high scoring draw, which will annoy Ranieri, but I can see Watford getting a point. I'm going to go for a Desmond here. 2-2. Brighton and Hove Albion versus Leeds United. I probably should have put this game on last. It's 2 sides struggling in the league. And yes, Brighton fans, I know that's your first defeat in whatever, but you don't win games. You draw so many games. I know you look good. You are a fun side. I know Tom gives you a lot of shit on this channel. I have no problem watching Brighton. I like watching Brighton. I think they play good football. I think the tactical prowess of Potter is very good, and I think he's done a lot of good things at Brighton. But you're not going anywhere. It's very good, but you're not winning. I know you've got some good draws like against Liverpool, but you need to get those wins on the board. And I'm going to back you here. I'm going to back you against Leeds, because Leeds are really finding it hard. Leeds are struggling, and they looked quite good in that first half against Tottenham, and they are missing a lot of players. But the second half, they were poor. Second half, it looked like this first sign of pressure, and they folded. And I hate to use a Simpsons line, but it's the old thing: folded quicker than Superman on laundry day. And I just don't think they can handle that pressure. And I think Brighton will dominate the game. And I think that they will eventually score a couple of goals. And I'm going to go for a 2-1 Brighton victory. Much needed win. Lot of trouble at Leeds. They need Bamford back quick, and I hate to say that, but they do. Nearly there now. Brentford versus Everton. I'm going to go for a Brentford win. I think they've been playing well. I think they played well in their draw, a 3-3 draw they had against Newcastle. They should have won the game. They should have won it. Tony looked really good up front there, and I just love the way they play. Rico Henry really impressing me as well. Everton are struggling. They got, again, talk about injuries. They've got a lot of injuries to key players, and they are struggling. And they didn't look good against Man City. And I think it's going to be another quite laboured, tired performance against this Brentford side. I think they're going to sense their chance here to get quite another big scalp, and they're going to put Everton under pressure from word go, and the crowd are going to get into it. And I see Brentford, the Bees, getting a win. I'm going for a 2-0. Can't speak. Let's start again. 2-0. Brentford win. And finally, it's Norwich versus Wolverhampton Wanderers. Norwich City. What a great result for Dean Smith in his first game. We gave him a lot of shit for going to Norwich. Why would you do it? But they looked pretty good. And I wonder if it was just like the thing with Farke, whether he kind of lost belief in his ability to get this side winning games in the Premier League, and they just needed that change of voice. He's brought players like Cantwell back in and Gilmore back in, and all of a sudden they look more of a threat. All of a sudden they look like they can pose sides problems, and that is something, it's only a start, but an encouraging start. It's 2 wins now in a row for Norwich City, and it just gives a whole Carrow Road crowd something to cheer for. They finally got some hope in this Premier League season. Wolves have been excellent. Jimenez, what a story. Haven't seen that BBC documentary on him, but I want to, because he's a great player, and what he's come back from, I'm so glad he's reaching that level again. But Wolves are a good, efficient side with a couple of good goal scorers now in Hwang and Jimenez. And I don't see them having any problems this season. They could even challenge top 7. I think that'd be a very hard side to beat. Good defence as well in there too. And as much as, I think I just have a hard time. I have a hard time backing Norwich to win. So I'm just going to back Wolves. I think it'll be 1-0 to Wolves. And before we close out Premier League predictions, I'm going to go back and go over all those people that gave predictions for last week's round. Thank you to all those people that did. If you want to play along this week, it's very simple. Put those predictions down in the comments and I will give you a shout out on next week's video. It may go back to being at the start, it may be at the end. We're just trying it out. We'll see how it goes. We'll get those shout outs. So let's see how everybody did. We start with a Judy, our Man United fan. How are you feeling now, Judy? Is it nice that you finally ripped the Solskjaer band-aid off? But not a great week. Only 3 points for a Judy. Rob, maybe a change of fortune for you. Now the Solskjaer's gone. Robert Allen is next up with 4 points. Not a great week for Robert Allen either. Usually he's much higher up the leaderboard. Current champion PJ Simpson. Not a good week for PJ, but he did get half of the scores forecasted correctly. And so he got 5 points. But just, finds himself quite low down the leaderboard this time. So couldn't defend your crown, PJ. And let me just explain very quickly, because I did get comments about this. I don't think I've ever gone over the rules of what you get. So you give your predictions. If you get a correct score, you get 3 points. If you get a correct result, you get 1 point. There we go. That's the rules. Whoever has the most points is the winner. Next up is Suhail Zubar with 6. Did get a correct score for Tottenham versus Leeds. So got a 3-pointer in that one there and ended up with 6 points overall. Josh Koska, our Liverpool fan, he got a correct score for Man City, Everton, and also ended up with 6 points. So good return for Josh. Manny Stapper came in with 6 as well, and also got a correct score for Man City versus Everton. So well done, Manish. Not a bad result for you. But now we come to the cream of the crop, and we got some unbelievable stats in here. Shane O'Donnell, so close to a win, Shane. But 9 points overall. But again, a correct score. And everybody from here on in got a correct score for Man City Everton. But 9 points overall. Only got 3 scores wrong on the week. Great performance. But you were pipped at the post by our joint winners. So congratulations to both of you. We start with our new player, Roast Maximus. What a great name. A Liverpool fan. Got a correct score for Spurs, Leeds, correct score for Man City, Everton, and also Patrick Silk fantastic Patrick, long-time supporter of Very Biased Opinions. Also I got a correct score for Norwich and Southampton, and got one for Man City, as I already said. So 10 points for both of you. Joint winners this week. Well done. Let's see if you can defend your crowns on next week's predictions, and also anybody else that wants to play along, give your predictions down in the comments. But that will do it. Like, hit subscribe, all those usual YouTube things that we always go on about, and hope you enjoyed the video. We'll see you for League One predictions, and we'll see you for another round of Premier League predictions next week.